I'm sorry. Okay? I'm sorry. 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 I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, okay?
Hey, you. Welcome back to I'm Sorry, Okay? A podcast where we are watching so much Degrassi. I'm Mary here with Paul and LD. This week we watched Season 2, Episode 13 of Degrassi Junior High, Past Tense. This episode was written by Jan Moore, directed by Kit Hood, and originally aired on March 28th, 1988. In this episode, as the semester ends, Joey learns he's being left back, which dampens his enthusiasm for the band's concert debut.
Wow, spoiler alert.
The big gig.
It's finally happening. Oh, and I should also mention that this is our Season 2 finale.
Hell yeah. But yes, that is a massive spoiler alert just in the description. Yeah.
Right? The entire episode is building you up to thinking that Wheels is going to get held back.
Yeah, I feel like a better description would just be like general, like grade issues. Yes.
Fate hangs in the balance.
Oh.
There you go.
2 will enter, 1 will leave.
Okay, so I maybe have another spoiler, which is that according to the Degrassi fandom wiki, this episode marks the final appearance of Stephanie K, Rick Monroe, and Susie Rivera.
Oh! It's a bloodbath.
What?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, maybe it was a high school reallocation or something, but they are gone.
I mean, 2 of those are in 7th grade.
Well,
Yeah,
I know, but they
I
just
feel
didn't
like because
they just wanted to get out ahead of time.
they like drop a line in about stuff like I'm gonna transfer.
Yeah, they address it in the season 3 premiere. I know
Okay.
that. But I'm not sure about the other 2.
Yeah, I think they maybe say that like Rick moved away or something. And all I found about the only thing, okay, so I guess I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast, but I think we've talked amongst ourselves about the actress who played Stephanie K just like didn't really feel fulfilled by this part, which understandable. She had the big sad stuff up, but you know, like there wasn't a lot going on with her character.
Supposedly she was kind of like she aspired to bigger things, and I think like her agent told her to leave Degrassi before she became like typecast and was like go on to
Right.
other stuff, and she didn't get any other gigs.
But I think Rick is probably the one to be missed most of all. And I guess the actor who played Rick, he ended up leaving the show and he just gave up acting entirely. But he started tattooing in Toronto in 1995 and is still tattooing.
Nuh-uh.
All right, we are all going to get tattoos from Rick Monroe.
So I don't know. It sounded like, it didn't say specifically, but it sounded like he maybe just kind of lost interest in acting.
That's fair. It sucks though, because Rick was, I think, a really interesting and dynamic character.
Yeah.
Yes.
He brought a
With
lot of
great hair.
Yeah, oh my god, with my like aspirational hair.
Yeah.
But like he brought a lot of issues to his character. You know, there was issues of classism, there was issues of abuse, there was even issues around like possible learning disabilities because he'd been held back. You know, there was a lot of stuff.
Stereotyping.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot more
Yeah.
ground that could be covered, but
And his relationship with Caitlin and his relationship with Kathleen, like they were both like interesting and had like kind of more depth than like, you know, like Yick and Melanie went out, or like Melanie. Sorry, I'm thinking about, we're going to get to our season 2 wrap up. So I've got all this in my head, but you know, just thinking about like some of the other relationships that we've seen portrayed, they didn't really have anything super interesting going on, but just Rick, because of like who he is, I think brought like more of an interesting like perspective to like his dating or like kind of romantic storylines.
I mean, he was Comrade Rick.
Mm-hmm.
wow. Well, a trifecta is lost.
I don't even know if we really see. I mean, Steph is in this episode, but I don't think we really. Susie's like part of the dance like committee kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know the last we saw of Rick.
I think the last time Rick was around was when he was trying to help Kathleen out, and then she started revenge flirting.
Yeah.
Yes, which I mean, that's not a bad note to go out on. He was the recipient of the revenge flirting.
He had friends fighting over him.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we open with Joey and Steph before class. Joey's trying to convince her to book the Zit Remedy for the graduation dance, which she's not really sure she's allowed to do, but she eventually agrees, as long as they only play one song.
Only one song, though.
We only know one song.
Love the joke that they only know one song. Also, what the hell is a coordinate conjunction?
Oh, would you like to know?
Yes, because I have no idea.
Okay, so a coordinating conjunction are words like and, but, and or. They link together clauses. So the trick with coordinating conjunctions is that each clause needs to make sense on its own. So like, you know how when you're deciding whether or not to say like someone and I or someone and me, and you isolate yourself to see if that sentence still makes sense?
Ah, yes, yes.
Right? So like you wouldn't say like Paul and me are going to the mall because me are going to the mall doesn't make any sense, but Paul and I are going to the mall, I am going to the mall. That makes sense. So the same way that you would do that, with a coordinating conjunction, each of the clauses on its own needs to make sense on its own. So for example, if you had something where it was like, I felt sick, I didn't go to work, you could insert a coordinating conjunction there to join them up to create a complete sentence like, I felt sick and I still went to work. Or, I felt sick and I didn't go to work. Or you could just drop the subject entirely and say, I felt sick and didn't go to work instead of repeating I twice. So that is coordinating conjunctions.
Previously we had talked about what punctuation we would be. I think I might actually be a coordinating conjunction.
So you're not even punctuation at all.
No,
you're
not
like off the
punctuation.
map.
Yeah, I'm off the punctuation train completely. I've found my place and it's coordinating conjunctions.
You do bring people together. You are the glue. Like Paul and I are independent clauses, but when you're here, we become a complete sentence.
Aw.
Okay, that's the cutest thing I've ever said.
So the reason that we're talking about coordinating conjunctions is because Snake and Wheels are cramming for Radich's final exam before class. And Wheels is very worried because he didn't do well on his other exams and he could fail the year. But Joey shares his life philosophy that you only need 51% to pass.
Okay, absolutely not the way to go through life. And yet the way that we decide who the president is.
I've heard
Yeah.
Oh, yikes, Joey. I've heard of C's get degrees, but I've definitely never heard of F's get degrees. That's a new one.
I've heard D's get degrees.
These get to
yeah.
That even makes a little bit of sense, maybe, but 51%, dude. That's that is living a high and fast lifestyle that I can't identify with.
It's the one thing that Joey made note of and has been retaining and holding on to.
This is the extent of Joey's knowledge of math.
Yeah.
As evidenced by the previous episode where he talked about -0. I think we just know.
Oh yeah, and he freaked out Wheels. Or was it Snake?
No,
I can't remember. He freaked someone out.
I'm referring to when he calls LD
Oh.
and Alexa -0s when he's looking at pictures of the Sunshine Girls in his locker.
He does confuse Wheels when he says how could you have less of something? What is he's what is -2? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and as we previously discussed, it fucking doesn't. But
it does not.
We don't need to get into it.
Yeah. So Joey at this point, he's not worried about the exam because they're going to be stars anyway.
True.
Yeah,
And
obviously.
He just booked them this gig.
I mean, guys,
It's going great.
every band that I knew that played a show in middle school or high school went on to be rich and famous and didn't ever have to get jobs.
I mean, they have an opening act. It's DJ Radich. So like that, with that kind of setup, like he sets them up and they knock them down. Instant money.
Look, they might end up missing Stephanie K actually, because she is the booker man for Degrassi High, and she's kind of killing it right now.
Booker man.
That was a joke for Paul. I also had that there's a 1-song stipulation for this gig.
Little Brian Pillman shout out.
Okay, so the bell rings and Radich gives a 5-minute
Ding, ding,
warning.
ding, 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 ding.
Joey and Snake hand their exams in, but Wheels is still working, so they tell him they'll meet up with him later at the arcade.
Is it normal to get like 5 extra minutes after the bell to finish the test, by the way? That like seems real. I don't know, like something about that actually, I like that.
Yeah, it seems really nice. I mean, I remember in high school there were kids who were dyslexic and they got extra time.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be like diagnosed.
They were like qualifiers. Yeah. I just like, that was a detail that I really enjoyed. I've never seen that, and as like during my time as a student, I don't remember ever like being allotted that.
I feel like it would usually be like time's up, pencils down. Maybe you could get like kind of organize your stuff a little bit, but
right.
But yeah, he lets them keep working. I don't know. Maybe Radich is doing a solid.
Hell yeah.
Although it's also like, how much more do you really think you're gonna get done in 5 minutes?
I don't know.
Like
man,
your score might be
left.
It's nice to have like a warrant, because if you're like in the zone while doing the test and then the bell rings and then it's like, that's really got to be really jarring. Technically, it's actually very developmentally helpful to give a 5-minute warning for transitional periods to students. So yes.
Well, and I guess and the last thing you do right is when you're doing like the short answer. So I guess you could kind of be like in a flow, and you do want to let someone at least finish their thought, because not everyone can write as quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I loved that. Loved it.
Great. So then Spike's mom drops her off because she is allowed to take her exams at school, but she has to take them away from everyone else because the sight of a pregnant teenager could obviously lead to more pregnant teenagers.
I honestly thought you were about to say could ovulate, like some other
originally
I was trying. You were going with that.
I was gonna say something about that it could cause spontaneous pregnancy in other teenagers.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
But I changed it because I don't know. It just sounded.
They're like putting her in quarantine like she's a rabid animal who like someone's trying to bring into a foreign country.
And this whole episode, they're kind of like smuggling her in and out of places, but it's like everyone already knows that she's pregnant. What is the risk of seeing a pregnant person? Like that seems to be the actual fear here.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Is seeing a pregnant person being like, ooh, I want to look pregnant too.
But Mama Nelson is just being continuously posy about the whole thing, which is just like incredible.
She's just proud of how she's handling all of this bullshit. They have a nice little moment in the car.
I'm really proud of the way you're handling all this.
I'm proud of her too.
I'm proud. Yeah. Well, we'll come to find out she got straight A's. Like, despite everything that was thrown at her,
my God.
She got straight A's.
Nobody's keeping Spike down. Nobody put Spike or her baby in a corner.
Nice.
Yes. All right, so Steph and the twins are in the hallway talking about high school next year and all the hunks they're going to meet when Spike walks in. They all go over to say hi, and Spike asks them about the exam and then complains about her back because pregnancy.
Yeah, I wonder, do you remember how we were talking in a previous episode about how we think that they were kind of making her say how horrible it is so that girls watching it wouldn't want to get pregnant? I love the line where she's just like, being pregnant is not fun.
I know, it's like, who thinks that's fun? the only fun part of pregnancy seems to be that you get to like eat you have like an appetite for like weird combinations that you may not otherwise have.
I do that anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's also like an effective like weed.
Yeah,
You don't
exactly.
have to go all the way and get pregnant.
Yeah, just go get stoned, kids.
Also, just generally felt personally attacked when they were talking about all the hunks in high school, and then one of them is like, "There are nerds in high school too."
Yeah, I
Like,
was
don't be
like,
such a pessimist.
oh, I wrote, I can confirm this is true.
You know, the nerds in high school might be the ones that you end up liking the most.
They're all software developers now.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
are
look at 'em now.
millionaires.
All of them.
Every single one. Isn't that like the
Um,
narrative of like so many like teen shows? It's like
It's always like, oh, the quarterback's going to be bagging your groceries while you're in Silicon Valley, like making millions.
exactly, there it is.
And
He's
it's like,
he's
or-
gonna be a used car salesman.
Yeah, which
Oh,
actually
oh.
is in somebody's future.
I bet that's in the TV guy. Spoilers.
All right, so Miss Avery comes out and trolls them and tells them she hopes they're not giving Spike the answers. And then she takes Spike to the resource center to take the test and make sure to touch both of her shoulders for good luck.
The old Biden touch. Gotta.
It's literally a double touch. I was like I watched her really closely, and she touched her furthest shoulder, and then she touched the closer one too. That's not all she'll get up to this episode. I should have been counting the shoulder touches.
I did feel like, so you guys were talking about it was sort of like she was being quarantined or like completely kept separate. But in this scene, I just kind of have a note that says like, it sort of makes sense that she gets a private session to do her finals, because at this point, I don't know how long she's been out of the school, but it would have to be a little distracting to like, if they just threw her right into a class with like all the other students. I don't know.
And she's in the final stretch. We find out that she is 6 weeks away from her due date. So, you know, like, yeah, a pregnant person probably does need some kind of accommodation. Maybe she needs some extra bathroom breaks or something.
Yeah. So I don't know. I actually kind of thought this was like you said, an accommodation that maybe the school is like doing for her rather than.
And of course, a punishment. Well, they're looking at it like they're letting her write her exams.
Yeah, I mean,
and probably because they
you
thought
to go
she
to
would
public
cheat at
school.
home.
Yeah, the whole situation already sucks. So, I mean, we could just leave it at that.
Yeah. But at least Miss Avery is like, if you got to deal with anyone, it'd probably, you know, Miss Avery's the one you'd probably want to deal with. And the other thing I wanted to note is that Steph is apparently feeling much better because she is dressed in all pink and she's regained her interest in hunks.
And dances.
And dances.
That's how we know she's on the citalopram. I don't know. I just picked a random antidepressant.
It's working.
From
It's
like the
clearly
mental
working.
Rolodex that
Okay, so then for our B plot this week, we learn about the Degrassi tradition of grade 7s planning the graduation dance for the grade 8s. Kathleen is, of course, in charge and delegating tasks.
This doesn't seem like that big of a deal, and these guys are just whining nonstop about it. Like, I don't know about you guys. This didn't happen at my middle school, but like our high school juniors, quote unquote, like threw prom for seniors or whatever, technically. I don't think they made the decorations themselves, but, you know, I think they were like in charge of determining the theme and all that shit. So I don't know. And also the themes for the proms that we went to were just awful.
Was it like Under the Sea?
Oh, no. One was
Starry Night?
Stars.
One was Kissed by a Rose.
Oh.
And then one of what's
Wait,
that?
did
Eric
they play
Clapton
it
song?
many times?
Probably. I don't remember.
Oh, the Eric Clapton song era was actually the year that I, in a band, performed in front of the school, and we played the prom theme, which was the Eric Clapton
Whoa.
song "Wonderful Tonight." So
Wonderful Tonight.
I had my own little Joey Jeremiah moment. But there was no photographs and nothing about the performance ended up in the yearbook, which always kind of pissed me off. I was
Don't
like,
worry, I've got our prom pick.
I mean, yeah, but am I playing the guitar in
No, I
front of the
fucking wish.
school? No. It felt like a glaring omission.
I can't believe no one had like a disposable camera.
You just have to wait to get tagged on Facebook.
Jesus.
You just gotta wait for someone to do a massive photo dump.
Oh God, that's my nightmare. It's happened a couple times and I immediately untag. And then I just quit Facebook altogether. I was like, I don't want to know about this.
But yeah, also this like committee that the grade 7s are in seems like it's voluntary. Like it's not
like the entire it's not like everyone in grade 7 has to contribute.
I assume this was student council.
The usual suspects. Yeah.
And so I was just kind of like, well, this feels like exactly what you signed up for.
Yeah.
But this is what an extracurricular activity looks like.
Yeah.
Well, so they're very annoyed because they're planning the dance, but they don't even get to attend. Steph and the twins stop by to see how things are going, and they tell her that it's going fine, and then they start talking shit after she walks away, which is another Degrassi tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of complaining, Caitlin thinks it's unfair that they have to plan the dance, and Kathleen is defending the tradition because of course she is. And then they all just agree that they can't wait to do the exact same thing to the grade 7s next year.
Once again, I feel like, am I on the wrong side of history? Because I am sort of Kathleen's just kind of whatever, let's just do it. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, just do it.
Yeah, I mean, I never had any sense of how dances came into existence, so I don't know if this is a thing, but it just feels like pretty standard. So back to Radich's exam, and we're down to the 2 final test takers, Wheels and LD. LD hands in her exam, and Radich tells Wheels his time is up, and he does this by tapping him on the head with a handful of rolled up tests.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
I don't love that.
But okay.
He's cool guy Radich. He's got his suit sleeves rolled up.
Yeah.
He's very business, mister.
He's ready for summer vacay. He's like,
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
He's already there in his mind.
Yeah.
Personally, I find it hard to keep your, when you're wearing a blazer, to keep your sleeves pushed up like that.
Yeah, it is hard.
Wheels seems very confident though, which I also like. He's not he's no longer stressed. It's very much just well, the test is over.
Well, and he was answering. It's not like he was sitting there I don't know what's going on. It didn't seem like he was lost. It just seemed like he was being overly cautious and checking everything and writing a little extra sentence here and there. So yeah.
Good for him.
Okay. After the exam, pastel queens Nancy and Michelle are in the hallway comparing answers and citing the exact chapters that they can be found in, while BLT and Wheels listen at their lockers and realize that they got all of the questions that they're talking about wrong.
Yeah, the questions in question are about quotation marks that are used to enclose direct quotes and certain titles. Where a semicolon goes.
Yeah, some of these I was like, where did you put it in the list, guys?
Yeah, I was like, where are you putting that thing? Because yes, it does go ahead of the list.
I was like, would you put it in the middle of the list?
And then they were talking about conjunctive adverbs, which I had to Google.
Yeah, and Nancy and Michelle are just kind of hilarious here. They even the exam queens walk away reciting even more grammar rules.
Just flexing, just not even completely unabashed, no shame.
Because they didn't even seem worried that they got one wrong. They were just like, what about this one? Did you get this answer? Yeah, me too.
Listen, some of us in the world have one thing that we're good at, and it is tests about grammar. I got a perfect score on the language section of my ACTs
Oh.
and really bad scores on pretty much everything else. So
Well,
some of us have to flex where we've got it because we don't have that much to flex about.
Fair
you
enough.
know, and for the rest of the episode, we just see these two in the same general area. So I really think they just spent the whole afternoon just walking around and flexing on this exam that they just took.
If you've got it, flaunt it.
BLT says he's just going to like join the army.
Yeah.
I was
Good
like,
for
oh,
him.
wow.
That's just the Canadian Army.
Do they?
Yeah, they probably don't have to do that much there.
They're just like on posts, like defending large groves of maple trees.
Yeah.
Or like shooting people who try to poach bears.
I'm sure they're horrible.
Those are things you can get behind.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we kind of have different takes there.
I bet they have cute little outfits.
The outfits probably are pretty good. Over at the arcade, Snake and Joey are talking about being famous and having groupies while Joey plays a pinball game called High Speed. That detail felt important to me, but
He
was
keeps
very
playing
cute.
it. Yeah.
he does keep playing it.
He loves that game.
Yeah,
I have a
he's
theory.
really
I have a small
hyped about
theory
it.
about it later on.
Oh yeah, I
You're
actually
gonna hold on to that one.
Yeah,
though?
you're holding on to it?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's fair.
I don't know how much of a theory it is, but I probably already oversold it.
He's got.
But anyway.
I love his like. Step 1, we practice. Step
Yep.
2, step 3, we'll be famous. That's
Well,
like
step 2, they booked the graduation dance.
sure, okay.
They've got a gig, baby. They're on their way.
Mhm.
Also, we missed this, but I was glad at some point that Snake was sort of like, what are we supposed to do about our parents? Because like they're not allowing us to practice, and Joey's just like, whatever.
Which is what got them into this mess in the first place.
Yes.
Joey being like,
yeah.
we'll do whatever we want.
Oh, one of the steps was also the bass amp, but they had to start over for that one.
Yeah, they never got that.
They're a little
bass.
behind.
Oh, guys.
There's a lot of questions about the Zit Remedy's like sort of
Game plan. 5-year
Yeah.
plan.
Yep. But
Well, since we're talking about Zit Remedy, Paul and I had this conversation about who is who in the Zit Remedy, which landed on me being Joey Jeremiah, which I didn't appreciate. But the difference between myself and Joey Jeremiah is that I would have this shit organized.
Wait, hold on. Who am I?
You're Snake, because you're both Libras.
But I'm so short.
well, so am I.
We all are. Well, I guess for Joey it works, but Paul, and then Paul is obviously Wheels.
Yeah, that actually
I think
does track.
they're both Cancers. I'm
Mm.
not a Leo. I just kind of default as Joey, I think.
Yeah.
You're the ringleader
Yeah.
/ the glue.
Although
What was it?
I'm not getting anyone in trouble.
Coordinating conjunction.
Definitely like
Tag
Joey,
yourself.
Joey 2.0. You got your parts and your circuits upgraded.
It's just an expression, a robot expression.
Yes, absolutely.
You similarly look very cute in a fedora.
Oh, thank you.
You're a lot better at talking people through their worries, though, because Wheels comes in this scene and is talking about how he's
Yes.
worried that he failed the test and that he's going to lose the year. And Joey's just kind of like, who cares? We're going to be rock stars.
You only need 51%.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you keep saying that. But as we're going to find out, just barely passing is not actually good.
It doesn't always count as passing.
I think he does sort of like help Wheels a little bit, like sort of get over it though. And he's just sort of like saying like, don't worry about it. It's over. Let's go practice. He's basically doing his like classic manipulating a situation in a helpful way.
He's trying to get him pumped for the graduation dance, but Wheel says he's not gonna go if he doesn't graduate.
Mm-hmm.
That plants a seed, doesn't it?
Yeah, right? But then also, Joey tells Wheels that they need him to play because he's the heart of the Zit Remedy. So they settle on that Wheels will at least practice with them until he finds out if he passed.
That's fine. I would not go to Joey for any help ever. Whereas I text you all the time for advice.
That's true. And I've never told you, look, you only need 51% to pass.
If you start sending me that message, we're not friends anymore. I also love how when they get to practice, Snake doesn't even remember where the cords plug in.
Extremely relatable, to be honest. Oh, this was when we started talking about it, because in this scenario where there's only Wheels and Snake, I am absolutely the Snake. I mean, there's just a lot of cables, and it's hard to remember where they all go.
And Joey was just sort of like, yeah, I just took my keyboard back from my parents. They didn't even notice.
Yeah, whatever.
Like, makes sense. This kid obviously does not have any supervision.
Yeah. And so then once they're all there, they all start singing some extra verses to Everybody Wants Something.
What a treat.
Extended version.
I actually found it to be kind of upsetting.
I mean, I don't think this is a song that needs more verses.
No.
But I am delighted to know that they're fine-tuning.
They're putting the work in.
I love the verse that they sing that we hear at the dance where it's talking about like working hard and you'll go far. I was just like, yes. I was like, of course, someone who's like in charge of a teen kind of educational, morally driven show has the only band in school like singing songs about how you should apply yourself.
Well, you know, maybe Wheels wrote that line because he really put an effort in this semester.
Think of the amount of shoulder touches he must have gotten from Miss Avery.
Oh yeah.
Well,
it powered him through.
Yeah, it did.
Caitlin and Susie drop by the office to grab some cash from Doris for more dance decorations. When a man walks out of Principal Lawrence's office and hands Doris the plans for the high school reallocation, which he also conveniently describes in exact detail. Here's those plans for the high school reallocation, Doris.
And she's like, oh, did you find room?
Yes. And so then, like, after he leaves, Doris dishes that due to shifting population patterns, the high schools are full, so they're adding a grade 9 onto Degrassi. And they can all stay together next year.
Yeah, she's like very excited about this, which doesn't, I don't think I would believe that. That would be more work for her.
She's just trying to keep the riots at bay.
Yeah.
Yes.
You love this.
Well, okay.
You're happy about this.
Yeah. You know, and we'll get back to riots later.
Wow, what a teaser.
What?
Actually, we'll get there right now.
Oh,
because Susie and Caitlin cannot wait to share this news with everyone planning the dance. And when they do, everyone is outraged. They're about to riot when Miss Avery walks in and confirms that the news is true.
Miss Avery, did you know we were going to have a grade 9 next year?
Yes. There will be a grade 9 here next year at Degrassi.
They start to swarm her, and she holds on to Melanie's shoulder to survive.
It's pandemonium.
They're really mad. Melanie's like, we don't want them here anymore. They really hate the grade 8s.
You have you're set certain expectations within like an institution, and when those aren't met, I think it's perfectly reasonable to just be like, well, fuck this.
It changes the hierarchy of the school. And as we've seen, like the grade 8s, you know, they treat these grade 7s with no respect. So they're just kind of like, are we just going to get
no regard, neither.
No respect at all.
Like they're just going to get dumped on again next year. So, I don't know. Also, doing stuff sucks, so I feel like it's more so just like, I don't want to blow up these balloons.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it's just Stephanie K, though, that they don't like. And she's not going to be there anyway, so maybe they're going to be fine.
That's true.
It's not grade 8s that they have a problem with. They haven't had any other conflict. It's purely Stephanie K who's...
Yeah, because there's, like, even, like, you know, like, Caitlin and Spike, that wasn't, like, really a conflict. That was more of, like, I mean, Spike was like as cool as she could have been about that situation. But yeah, you're right. I guess we haven't seen a lot of other interaction between.
Spike was frankly too cool in that situation. She should have
Well,
whooped
I mean-
Caitlin's ass. Brought all that like extra pregnancy strength.
She's fighting with the power of two people.
Yeah, like an episode of The Office where Pam gets to hit Michael because he's sleeping with her mom.
I was actually going to reference the episode where Dwight says that he has the strength of a full-grown man and a tiny baby.
Because he resorbed
Yes.
his twin.
Yeah, Spike would be fighting with the strength of herself and a tiny baby.
So we cut to Radich's class where he's going over the details for the graduation ceremony, which is still on, which is why I'm also like, I don't think they're canceling all these things. But anyway, whatever. So he tells everyone to check for their names on the graduation list in the hall, but asks Joey to stay behind after the bell rings.
Okay, I've got something to say about this.
Oh.
Why would you put a list in public in the hallway with everyone's names?
What is this, a cast listing for a play?
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I also hated this.
And cast in the part of failure is Joey.
Before they all go check the list together to all find out if they passed or failed, LD asks Radich about the rumors about adding a 9th grade to Degrassi, and Radich confirms it.
He is
His class is
very nonchalant about this.
no.
Well,
So the class is not happy about it, and he's like, well, I don't really want you here either. But once again, he just blames the school board and then ends the conversation.
Yes. Hide behind the board.
Well, it obviously wasn't his decision. They can't really hold him accountable for this one. You just know that his
That's
ass
true.
is not like chomping at the bit to be teaching 3 grades.
Oh my god.
Right.
He's
Well,
not
and as
even
we
good
mentioned,
at teaching
yeah.
ones he's teaching.
Nope.
And he can't deal with, like, I feel like the older students get, probably the more they're going to challenge you. And he doesn't really seem to enjoy that.
No.
Everyone goes to check their names and is celebrating in the hallway before Radich closes the door for the talk. Oh, and also, like we mentioned before, so he's got this talk with Joey, and he's already got his sleeves pushed up. He's ready for summer, but he's got this one last thing to deal with.
It's like when you have to fire somebody on a Friday.
Yes,
Oh.
Joey has been fired from grade 8.
I think he's
Wow.
been fired
Or wait,
from high
technically he's been
school.
fired. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been fired from grade 9.
Yeah.
So he breaks the news that Joey has just scraped by in most subjects. And while he could go on to high school, it would only be in a low academic program. So Radich secretly talked with his parents, and they all decided that they want him to eventually go on to an academic high school and then on to post-secondary education. So he's going to have to repeat the year to better understand the material.
Okay, so I think this is addressed in future seasons, but it feels like this is the moment that they should be asking, why is this kid barely scraping by? You know what I mean? Like, this is the moment that you would be like, does this kid have dyslexia? Does he have a different learning disability? You know what I mean? Because Joey's like, oh, can I just take summer school? And Raj is like, I'm afraid the problem is more deep rooted than that. Which is why it's like extremely frustrating, because no one's investigating what the root is. They're just like, oh, you're just going to do this again.
Yeah.
But if he just does it again without
yeah.
anybody figuring out what the problem is or what the barrier is that's being created here, he's just going to repeat the same problems.
I think you're right. Radich doesn't really lay out for him what the problem is. I think that, you know, between Radich and his parents, they kind of think that Joey is just immature. And given all the kind of shenanigans that he's gotten into, it does seem like he's very impulsive. He doesn't think things through. He doesn't take things seriously.
He's
and
a
so I'm
middle
not
school
even
boy, and isn't he the youngest of like 4 kids or something? Like, of course he's like
right. But when Wheels was in a difficult situation, you know, like he got into a program and he was able to like get his shit together and pass his classes. But Joey didn't have that kind of intervention.
No.
For whatever reason. And so I think that like the reason he's being held back is not necessarily bad, but the way that they're going about it is just like terrible. Why didn't he know this was a possibility? First of all, why is
Wheels
this like
did.
surprise information? Yeah, Wheels like was very aware of like the fact that he could fail. And why are his parents meeting with Raditch and he doesn't know about it? Why is Raditch the one breaking this news rather than like maybe Raditch and his parents or his parents? Like it's all like it's like I really think that like, okay, this is a kid who seems a little bit more immature than the people around him. And so maybe for some reason this does make sense and this would be good for him. But when you just like kind of dump it on him as a surprise that everyone's been talking about him, it just seems like really weird, and you're not really setting him up to do any better.
I mean,
like you're not giving him anything that's gonna
they've completely failed him.
yeah
At every turn. Because like also, why was Wheels being offered tutoring, but no one was letting Joey go to tutoring? You know what I mean? Like they're in all the same classes. If they were in the same precarious position, they possibly could have even been supporting each other and helping each other and going to these tutoring sessions together. And that might have actually even created like a sense of solidarity. But instead, they're like isolating them. And I also think like watching it from the lens of right now and in my current life, I know I can think of at least half a dozen people in my life who as adults have been diagnosed with ADHD in the last year. And I mean, it's so much more obviously than just like inattention. Like there's a lot of like executive dysfunction. There's a lot of like hyper focus. It has a lot of overlap with the autism spectrum. And it's something that when I'm watching it through my kind of 2021 lens, I'm like, Joey Jeremiah absolutely has ADHD. Like the kid is hyper focused on his special interest, which is his band. It's the only thing he thinks about. It's the only thing he talks about. It's the only thing he wants to do. And being taken away from that special interest makes him upset. And he also has like a really hard time shifting his focus between different things. And that kind of thing, undiagnosed, kind of causes kids to fall further behind. And what I think later in the show, it's either dyslexia or dysgraphia or one of those, but it's just kind of like, it's late in the game to be getting diagnosed with that when it's costing you an entire year of life.
Right. If this had come up, like I was saying, like in elementary school, I don't think it has as big of an impact on somebody. Maybe it does, but there's a lot more to think about socially when you're like, when you think you're about to go into high school and then you're not.
Yeah.
The only other thing I wanted to comment on was that when Raditch is going over the graduation details, he says they're going to walk in reverse alphabetical order. And Simon's like, what's that?
I wonder if he knows what counterclockwise is.
I loved that. Well, Joey, I don't know if you were gonna get to this detail, but after Raditch breaks the news about all this, Joey does a walk of shame with his skateboard while Lawrence is on the PA reciting some platitudes about being proud of your own achievements.
Oh, yeah.
So my notes literally say, Joey Charlie Browns it out of school. As Mr. Lawrence makes an announcement over the loudspeaker about achievement. What a kick to the nuts. That's my note.
I didn't really have a lot of sympathy for Joey.
No, I wouldn't if it wasn't so clear to me. And I think like I went to art school, you know what I mean, for both undergrad and grad school. And like most people at art school have at least dyslexia. I remember hearing it was like 3/4 of the student population or something. So I think like being around so many people who had like a lot of different like learning needs, I now can recognize that when I see it in other people. And I'm just like, this kid has something going on. And that's probably why he's so annoying. It's probably the reason for all of the bravado and the immaturity is because he's trying to compensate for the fact that he is behind and he isn't like, he's not keeping up with everybody academically, and he needs to be, you know.
Well, and yeah, like also, you know, some kids just don't care about school.
Yeah,
Like
that's also fine.
I failed classes in high school, and it was because I didn't care. Like I had other things going on in my life, and school just wasn't a priority for me, and no one was really making it a priority for me. I wasn't at risk of being held back. But like, and I was more, that's why it's weird with Joey being totally unaware of this, because I knew the situation that I was in, and I was still like choosing that situation by way of not caring. And also I was moving my junior year, and so I'm like, what's my motivation to pass these classes? I'm not even graduating from this high school anyway. So, you know, like kids have like, there's like you're saying, like there's other things going on, and like you can't, like, it's almost like we treat school like a job. It's definitely a pipeline to like what your employment's going to be in the future, but you like, it's treated like a job instead of like taking care of kids' emotional well-being. Like you're saying, there's reasons, be it like, you know, like academic, like literal, like academic, or the way that you process informations, things going on at home. Like there's all kinds of stuff that can be going on in kids' lives. And why aren't we also teaching them how to manage those things instead of acting like you fail, you're fired, you're getting held back? Like, and that's supposed to teach you to what? Be resilient in a system that like doesn't really care about like your personal well-being.
Yeah.
So real.
Anyway.
So real.
I was just like, wait, I am Joey Jeremiah. Damn it.
Hey, I like, by the time I got to high school, yeah, I had lots of shit going on at home, and I didn't do all that well in my classes, even though I'd been a straight A student until I got to high school. And nobody asked any questions. Nobody was like, what should we do about this? Like, you know what I mean? No one talked to me about it. It was just like, oh, you have to go to summer school now.
All right, so Joey bails on band practice, and we cut to Snake and Wheels, who are going over the new song parts while they wait for Joey. Snake doesn't think he's coming, but Wheels doesn't believe that Joey would ever ditch band practice.
Wheels is like 180'd. He is completely jacked on this practice now.
Well, yeah, now he passed. He's like pumped on graduation.
Yeah, he doesn't have to worry anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The only... Okay, this is maybe only funny to me, but they're going over the song edits, and Snake is like, okay, so it's like new verse, old verse, new verse, old verse, new verse,
yeah,
right?
new verse, old verse, yeah. New
verse, old verse. Oh, new verse, old verse. Okay, got it.
I love that.
All right, so then we cut to Steph and twins in the hallway. And they are talking about the high school reallocation, and Steph tells them that she's going to transfer to a real high school next year.
Bye.
The dance committee shows up to dunk on them and tells them that they're not really graduating, so they're not going to plan the dance for them anymore, and they quit.
Double bye.
I just wrote just a bunch of little whiners.
Totally, but Steph kind of deserves it. She tries to tell them that they have to do it because it's tradition, but they just like bounce anyway and leave them like literally holding the decorations.
I mean, we find out later that there was a compromise that was reached, but it's also just kind of like, why didn't they just offer that at the beginning? Like, oh, since we're not graduating and you're not graduating, but someone has to do the dance, and we did it last year, why don't you guys do it?
And everyone's upset.
Yeah.
Easy solution. Everyone loves a dance. Just do that. All right. So back to Wheels and Snake can't wait around anymore, or his parents will get suspicious since they're not even supposed to be playing together. So they pack up and head out and run into Nancy and Michelle still lurking around the hallway. And Wheels asks if they've seen Joey, and then Nancy tells them that he flunked out.
She says, didn't you hear he flunked? So first of all, rude. And then she says, it's obvious his name wasn't on the graduation list, and he's not exactly the best student in the world. Double rude.
Dunked.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like not a good look from Nancy.
No.
And she just seemed like she couldn't wait to like tell other people about this.
Yeah.
When it's obvious that like, yeah, like school, like academics, like comes easily to her, so it's like especially like gross that she's like rubbing it in for someone who like really struggles in that way, and to someone like Wheels who was also struggling in that way and who like barely like
she's
made it
basically
through.
just like Rain Manning the fucking chapters and being like, chapter 5, here's exactly what it said. Chapter 7, here's exactly what it said.
I'm an excellent driver.
Yeah,
It's just like, all right, man, calm down.
yeah, come on, Nancy, even though I like your sweater, I don't like your attitude. Wheels is worried about Joey and tells Snake that they have to go look for him, but Snake is basically like, remember when we took my parents' car while they were out of town and I wasn't supposed to have anyone over, but I did and they found out? Yeah, I'm still grounded. So Wheels has to go himself.
Like, as an aside, this is why you use ID numbers instead of putting people's like whole ass names up on a public list. So people like Nancy can't talk shit about you in the hallway.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is the list even? Is the list just like what order they're going to line up in? Or like what? It's literally just a list announcing whether you graduated or not.
Horrible concept, regardless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because even if it is something innocuous, like here's the graduation order, it's like anyone can deduce, oh, Joey's not on the list. He failed.
Well, yeah, because like apparently Nancy was like checking to see if any names weren't included.
Yeah, and like what would any other explanation be? Like he's abstaining for religious reasons?
So Wheels goes and finds Joey at the arcade where he is working towards his new dream of getting a high score on high speed. That was it. That was my theory, is that now he just wants to be like a famous pinball player.
Pinball wizard?
Yeah, pinball wizard.
That's actually a pretty good theory. He's like, this is the thing I can control.
Yeah.
This is the thing I can excel at, so I'm going to do that instead. But this is where I'd like to point out that I think that Wheels is just a better, more supportive friend, because Joey is just kind of like embarrassed. He thinks that he's stupid. Wheels tells him that he's smart. And Joey's like, smart people don't fail. And Wheels is like, smart people make mistakes. And he reminds Joey that like he's his friend, and like, you know what I mean? Like they go through this whole thing. Like Joey's talking about how he doesn't want to play the dance now because everyone knows that he flunked. And Wheels is like, they're your friends too. And so he's not telling him like, this is, you're wrong for thinking this stuff. He's more just like, no, dude, like you've got support. And I think that's just way better than like, who cares, man? We're going to be famous.
Totally.
Yes, absolutely. Well, because Wheels is a Cancer sign. Like he's actually concerned about Joey's well-being, not just about manipulating Wheels into playing the gig that Joey wants to play. But yeah, he's basically like, he's really honest with him too. He's like, dude, you didn't really study. Like he's kind of like, what did you think was gonna happen? Like, but like you're saying, like, but he was also like, it's just a mistake. Like you can, do better. Anyway, Joey does not receive this information well, and he tells Wheels to leave him alone. And then Wheels walks away as a sad remix of Everybody Wants Something plays in the background.
Charlie Brown's it out of there.
All right, so then it's dance time. The gym has been decorated and everyone, including the grade 7s, are dancing and having a good time. Steph and the twins agreed to let the grade 7s attend because it was the only way they would do all of the work to set it up.
Smart.
Out in the hallway, Spike shows up and the twins run over to hug her.
She looks like she's recently joined a cult.
Okay, I had phrased it a little differently, but she seems to be dressed to hide her pregnancy that everyone already knows about.
Oh, I thought she looked like she was about to go join the polyphonic spree. Like, give that girl a fucking tambourine.
She's wearing like this beige, extremely oversized. Like, I really was confused because Spike always has like a cool outfit. And I was like, why would she choose this? And then I realized it was probably some kind of condition of her attending that she had to like hide her body.
Do you think
so?
Otherwise,
there's no sense. There's no reason that she would be wearing this outfit. It's not like...
There's no reason for her wearing any outfit. Like, she likes it. Maybe she's just like, this looks shit hot, man. I love this moo. I'm gonna go live off the grid in fucking rural Oregon.
I mean, maybe. Perhaps it's a comfortable. She likes a looser fit. She's a little more comfy, a little more relaxed. Maybe she feels like she'll be able to move around a little bit more. I don't know.
Maybe.
All right, so Joey arrives and he makes an entrance in his tuxedo t-shirt while wearing his jacket like a cape.
This is my look of the week.
Aww.
Unquestionably. I'm not sure if it's ironic or not, but I'm definitely a sucker for those like the screen printed t-shirt with the like dress look on it. This one is pretty I feel like this is more elaborate than the ones I would usually see too. It's got like a big old bow tie. What else?
It's like
He looks like he's doing a regional production of Phantom of the Opera.
Yes, I love the way he has his coat over his shoulders, but not with his arms through the sleeves.
classy.
Oh my god, but then he's also cut the sleeves off of his dress t-shirt so that he's also wearing a like white button up under it, and so the sleeves are
long sleeved.
so the long sleeve button up is like popping through. Oh my god, no, it's a statement. It is, yeah.
Look, it's a statement and it's quite an entrance.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
when I in my notes I refer to him as the king of graduation.
Yeah. So the girls are surprised that he's there, but he tells them that he wouldn't miss a party. He's already got a little like little snappy comebacks planned and everything. He's totally over this. he's over being upset. All right, so he goes to find Snake and Wheels inside, and Caitlin walks by and says hello. And Joey tells Wheels and Snake that she looks a lot better when you know you're going to be in the same grade with her.
Okay. Hold on.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hold on. I love how a mere few episodes ago, Joey was ragging on Snake for going on a date with Melanie and talking about how like she was too young. And now he's like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Caitlin.
Well, I mean, Caitlin is wearing my look of the week. Which is a baby pink tulle dress with a black corset belt and a little peekaboo black lace accent along one side.
I do love the peekaboo, but I hate this outfit.
I love it. I would have like loved this outfit in high school. Like black and pink. It's got like some gothy elements, but then it's still like high femme.
Your screen grab is incredible too. Snake has like the derpiest look on his face as he and Joey are sort of looking at her.
You know, I appreciate that because it was really hard to get a screenshot. Like, she was moving very quickly. And also dancing.
You nailed it.
Oh, so before Joey goes into the gym, there's just like kind of like ambient chatter or whatever in the hallway, and I think it's Melanie and Yick talking, and Melanie's like, why aren't you in the gym dancing? And Yick is like, well, I don't really like the music and I've never danced before. I was like, what?
Does feel like a Yick thing to say.
I was like, why are you at this dance?
I missed that entirely.
I do kind of remember hearing somebody saying like, well, I've never danced before.
Okay, this is a thing I've noticed in doing the podcast, that they must have the actors just like fill in conversation later. So a lot of times there'll be a lot of chatter and you'll just pick out like something. So like even like when we get into the gig and like the next scene, like someone is like insulting Joey. Like you can just hear everyone's cheering and then someone's just like, move it along, Jeremiah, or like something. I don't know, whatever. So they add in weird like commentary that you have to listen very closely.
Speaking of the music, we get one more spin from DJ Radich with this W&L Heartbeats Unlimited track.
I saw you in your
Yes!
His favorite record.
And he fucking loves this track.
He's like, it always gets the kids going.
He puts it on and he starts doing like this incredible like king of wishful thinking dance. Like it's just, he really does love it.
Yeah. He gets a little smile out of Miss Avery too.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Zit
They're
Remedy
pals.
goes. I think they are pals. The Zit Remedy goes backstage to get. Well, wait. Also, they're like the only two colleagues at this school, so they maybe have to default and just be friendly. The Zit Remedy goes backstage to get ready, and Stephanie tells Raditch that Joey showed up and the band is going to play, and that she told them that he would announce them.
I actually love this moment because basically, like, Stefan and the Zit Remedy talk about them playing. She doesn't say that at all. We see the full conversation.
Yeah.
And then she goes over to Raditch and is like, I told them you'd introduce them. She's like, I'm not going to this school next year, so I am not
Yeah.
invested in this at all.
She's like, look, this is the last thing I'm booking, and I just booked you, so get up there. Raditch gives them an intro, and they start playing as everyone gathers around and claps along to a different beat.
The Zit Remedy!
The crowd loves them.
Alexa is losing her mind.
Yeah.
She has like never heard music before. She is so stoked. And you know what? God bless Alexa. She gives absolutely everything her all.
Just so enthusiastic.
Yes, I had to just like pause this and laugh hysterically for like 10 minutes just watching like this scene unfold. It's a lot to take in. Right? The clapping is really, it's very enthusiastic, but the clapping doesn't match with the clapping you hear. Like, I think that they like paid people to come in and clap correctly because it just wasn't happening.
It's all very uncomfortable, definitely.
It's unfortunate. But anyway, that everyone loves it except for the one person I mentioned. I wish I could remember what he says, but he's just like, yeah, Jeremiah, you're a joke or something. Like someone just trashes Joey while everyone is cheering. And then right as the song ends, Spike's water breaks and she tells the twins to call her mom, and we end with a freeze frame on the three of them plus one, maybe.
My take was that everyone loved it except the baby, who was like, get me out of here.
I mean, as we find out in the next generation, Emma is not impressed by the Zit Remedy.
Yeah, wow. Emma is born during a Zit Remedy performance.
The very first.
Something about that.
That's a cursed existence.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
girl.
Wow.
And 6 weeks early.
Seriously.
That's early. That's like incubator early.
Well, that's it.
A big ending.
Yeah, big ol' ending.
Well, that sure was something.
Can't relate.
I related to Snake because I never really had any serious issues with grades to get hung up on. And Snake mostly seemed like he was worried about his pals and making sure everything with the gig went smoothly.
This week I related to Arthur, who we only saw for a second, a fleeting but exquisite moment. And we did not even talk about it in our recap, but he is serving punch at the dance, and he just really wants to tell us that it's his own special recipe. So this king is minding his business, but he just wants you to know that he gave that punch the attention that it truly deserves, and he hopes that you enjoy it. I think, personally, in this era of not being able to host people in our homes, I really miss making a nice punch or a good dip for a social event.
Aw. Yeah, I guess I related to Caitlin and Susie and like the grade 7s just more broadly because I also love to break news to people and also reject their unfair traditions.
Hell yeah.
So, friends, what did we learn today?
I learned that the mechanisms that direct our daily lives are completely out of our control, and they can be manipulated by those in power at the drop of a hat with little to no warning to us and with no consideration of the disruption it can cause.
Tough act to follow. I think this week we learned that even though everyone makes mistakes, your real pals will be there for you and support you through the tough times. I think we learned through Wheels that supporting our friends doesn't have to invalidate their feelings, but it's about reminding them that they have someone in their corner.
I felt like there wasn't really much to learn from this episode, except that if you don't study or put any effort into school, you're probably going to fail your classes. That's it.
Thanks, Capricorn. Thanks, Nancy.
You can listen to I'm Sorry Okay, a Degrassi podcast on Acast, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you enjoy what we're doing here at I'm Sorry Okay, be sure to give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts.
And thanks for listening. You can follow us on social media at I'm Sorry Okay Pod. OK is spelled O-K-A-Y, and email us at I'mSorryOkPod@gmail. That's it for past tense and for season 2 of Degrassi Junior High. You can catch our season 2 wrap up next week.
Bye.